चक्षुर्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले शिवं भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वतीति नामिने श्रीवर्षावनाय दयिताय कृपायै कृष्णसम्बन्धि ज्ञानदायिने अनंत प्रेमाद्य श्रीपादों श्री गौरकरुणाशक्तिविग्रहाय नमस्ते। नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्ते दीनतारिणे रूपाणि प्रसिद्धांतः। First of all, I am going to pronounce and I will speak. Our spiritual masters imply Shiva Bhaktivedanta Shri Narayana Sai Maharaj, Shri Gurudev, Mani Shiva Bhaktivedanta Shri Om Sai Maharaj, Shri Gurudev, and Dani Padmari Guruvaya. Rajans to all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavis, and especially Laya Shiva Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur. Srila Prabhupada was most auspicious Tiruvapati we observed yesterday. So yesterday we heard from Vaishnavas that Prabhupada actually wanted to stay for 10 more years. But then he said, oh, I've received this order now from Radha and Krishna that I have to leave now. Now the order is come. So therefore we heard that one day before he left, he gave like 108 instructions. He gave all these instructions one day before he left. And then we see he's given so many wonderful instructions. Even in our songbook, behind at the last, there is Updeshavali by Srila Param Gurudev and Updeshavali by Srila Prabhupada. This way, the Updeshavali by both of them is behind. And there Prabhupada is given the essence of all instructions. There, everything he is given there. So here we see that Prabhupada, his very name is Prabhupada. He is like the embodiment of his Prabhu's mercy. The embodiment of the mercy that is coming from the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. So here, when Prabhupada left this world, it is said that all the clocks in Bhagavad Gaudiya Math, they were showing the same time. It seemed that time itself stood still when he left this world. And then it is said that when he left, actually, some disciples of Prabhupada, they wanted to actually give him a Agni Sanskar. They wanted to perform the last rites by doing this Agni Sanskar. Even was very intimate disciples, very dear disciples. So no one could say anything. But then Param Gurudev, he said, I will never let this happen, he said. I will never let this Agni Sanskar be done on Prabhupada, he said. Not in my presence, he said. So then he said, if anyone wants to do this, then in front of my eyes, you come and you do this. He said, he challenged all the followers of Srila Prabhupada. No one could say anything. And Param Gurudev said, I will give him Samadhi with my own hands in Mayapur. That place which is so dear to him. This is his life and soul. In that very place, I'll give him Samadhi. With my own hands. So then a very special train was arranged, which was passing from Sierra, Calcutta, and a very special train was arranged where only devotees were there. And there, Prabhupada, he was placed in that special train. And everyone followed him in that train. All the devotees, they sat in that train. And then, even a very nice, Param Gurudev himself wrote a very nice article where he details the journey of Srila Prabhupada from Calcutta to Mayapur. Where he says, oh, now Prabhupada, when he went through such and such place, he accepted the prayers and the offerings given by all the devotees there. Like Param Gurudev, in that article, he states, he mentions that it was Prabhupada himself in that train, not that there was any difference between Prabhupada and his body. He says, oh, Prabhupada, he came to this place, Krishna Nagar, and dozens of devotees, they offered him so many things, and Prabhupada, he accepted with so much love. And then Prabhupada, he went, then the station went through Samudragar and all these places, so he mentions the journey. And then Prabhupada himself mentioned that how he put salt on Prabhupada's body and how he officially placed him into Samadhi there. So Gurudev is many times described what the meaning of Samadhi is. Samadhi means, Sam means equal, and Dhi means intelligence. So in that very spot, Param Gurudev, when he placed Prabhupada into Samadhi, it means he entered to that realm where his worshipable deity serves, which is Rukmanjari herself. So in that region where Rukmanjari is serving, he also entered that region. He resumed his services to Radha and Krishna. So this way we see that when Param Gurudev or any Vaishnava or any of his disciples, when they go to Prabhupada's Samadhi, no, they could not even utter Prabhupada. They could not even say that. Param Gurudev, he could, as soon as he would say Prabhu, he could not even say Pad. He'd start weeping so much, feeling so much separation. And then he'd point towards Maman Maharaj, Gurudev, Trivikram Maharaj, saying you should speak. I cannot speak, he said. And this way then they start speaking, glorifying Krishna, Prabhupada. Because this is the mamata that Param Gurudev had for Prabhupada. So much mamata. Said like, if any person, dear person has departed, he cannot survive. He will feel so much separation. So this is the mamata that Param Gurudev had. That when Prabhupada departed from this world, he felt so much separation that even one moment became so difficult for him to live in separation from him. In that very spot where he himself placed Prabhupada into Samadhi, you can imagine how much pain of separation he must have been afflicted with. So this way, when a pure devotee departs from this world, this way, although pure devotee is always present, he's always manifest, still to his near and dear ones, so much separation is felt. Like Trivikram Maharaj also, when he would speak on the disappearance day of Param Gurudev, he'd say that I still cannot understand how a disappearance day is a festival, he said. How this is a Tirobhav Mahamahotsav, he said. He said this day brings so much pain to my heart. But still, he said, the Vaishnavas, he said the realized souls, they said that this is a Mahamahotsav. Because they re-enter into the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So that way it is a festival. But he said, I'm still yet to realize this in my heart, he said. Because I feel so much separation from my Guru Maharaj, Trivikram Maharaj. So when Param Gurudev will come to this spot, you can imagine how much separation he's feeling. And also this spot, Vaishnavas have previously described that when Param Gurudev would tell Gurudev to speak, and when Gurudev would speak on the glories of Prabhupada, all the couples of Param Gurudev, they become so proud, so happy. They say, no, now we know that even after we leave this world, this line will continue through your disciples. They offer this compliment to Param Gurudev. Not like Padma Maharaj and all the others. They know Param Gurudev, oh, when we listen to all your disciples speak, then we feel so happy that this line will continue. This way we see that this is how Param Gurudev trained all his disciples. Like we also hear, once Gurudev was in Devananda Gauriya, and then he was speaking Hari-katha. And when he was speaking Hari-katha, he said, oh, Prabhupada, he said this, Prabhupada said that, this, that. And then some disciples of Prabhupada who had received initiation from him, they said, oh, but like, it's not like this, it's like this. And then Gurudev said, no, Prabhupada meant this. So then they said, oh, how can you say like that? You've seen Prabhupada, like you've associated with him for so many years. Like you haven't even seen Prabhupada. So how can you claim that what you're saying is exactly what Prabhupada said, according to his perspective? So then Gurudev, he told them, you may have seen Prabhupada by your eyes, but I have seen him by my ears, he said. The ears can never cheat. He said, the eyes can cheat, but the ears can never, he said. He said, I have seen Prabhupada through my Guru Maharaj's katha. He said this. So then the disciples of Prabhupada went in on Param Gurudev, saying, oh, one of your disciples? And then Gurudev, he wasn't even like a sannyasi then, he was Gaur Narayan, Vanachari, because since he had left home, there was the Vanaprasthi. Saying, oh, Gaur Narayan, he's saying this, saying that he's seen Prabhupada by his ears and not by his eyes. So in Param Gurudev on this video, he was so happy. He said, yes, what he's saying is true actually. Through Katha has spoken, he has seen Prabhupada, he's had darshan that way. So this way we see that Param Gurudev, by his love, by his mamata for Prabhupada, he empowered so many of his dear and near ones. And he made them have darshan who Prabhupada really is. Because we see that when a Vaishnava departs from this world, especially when a Vaishnava like Prabhupada, then how is his mercy felt and experienced? Through his near and dear ones. No. Through his near and dear ones, that mercy is felt. So here we see that when Prabhupada, when he left this world also, how will he be realized in everyone's hearts? Now that the world is being deprived of his physical presence, how will this line continue through his near and dear ones? So this way we hear that when Prabhupada left, it seemed externally that even after some time, Param Gurudev, he left Prabhupada's mission. No, he left Prabhupada's mission, and then externally it seemed that he no longer stayed in Mayapur, that he established his own mission, now this, that. But did he really leave Prabhupada's mission? That is the question. No. Externally he may have left that institution, but did he even deviate even 1 inch from Prabhupada's teachings? What Prabhupada taught in his own life, how not to seek prestige, how to always remain humble. We see that even like when Param Gurudev, he wrote this Arati for Prabhupada also. And when this Arati was written, everyone was so happy with this Arati that even Pujya Bhaktivilas Tirtha Maharaj, he quoted this Arati in one of the magazines of Chaitanya Math. Exactly as it is. And only in the last line he replaced it. Like he mentions Param Gurudev's name. So then when they told this to Param Gurudev, saying, oh, they've done like, oh, Bhaktivilas Tirtha Maharaj, he has done this. He has published the same arti, but the last line is removed. Param Gurudev was so happy. He said, oh, you think I seek my own Pratishtha by this? He said, rather now, every day they'll sing this arti in Prabhupada's Samadhi. I'm so happy, he said. And to this day we see that the arti written by Param Gurudev is being sung there. In Prabhupada's Samadhi there. This way we see Param Gurudev had so much mamata also in Chaitanya Math. It is said that once Chaitanya Math was actually going to sell some land away from the main temple premises. And then Param Gurudev immediately, he didn't let that happen. He said, no, that is Prabhupada's land. He said, how can they even sell? And then immediately he fought a court case against them. And then that way they could not even sell. And then Param Gurudev actually, once he got some land in Mayapur actually. He got some land in Mayapur and he said Chaitanya Math, they occupied it. They took that land away. And then when they told Param Gurudev about it, that oh, Chaitanya Math has taken that land away, he said, oh, ultimately it's theirs, he said. It's not even mine, he said. I may have bought it, but that place ultimately it's his. So in his heart, Param Gurudev, he had so much love also for his Guru Maharaj's institution. So we see that Prabhupada, the life he lived, his ideal, his teachings, they were all embodied in his near and dear ones. Like yesterday we heard, like that person, he didn't know anything, he only knew how to make bricks. We heard that story yesterday, that he asked Prabhupada, he asked Param Gurudev, saying like, oh, I don't have any talent, I only know how to make like these bricks. So then Prabhupada said, alright, if you know how to make bricks, then you make nice bricks for the temples. Because now the mission is expanding, because then we know Prabhupada established more than 64 Gaudiyas. So then he started making bricks and through these bricks temples were started. Temples were slowly being built. And then we hear that how he achieved such perfection in seva that ultimately he left his body. Then everyone, when they told Prabhupada that he's left his body in separation, then Prabhupada said, oh, Radha and Krishna have called them back to Guru Vrindavan. Like we see even this Jagabandhu also. Param Gurudev is gone to the Jagabandhu. They said that when Param Gurudev was going Visha, collecting money from here and there, from Bagbazar, Jagabandhu, he saw Param Gurudev, he became so attracted. He said, oh, Vinod Babu has come to my village. And then Jagabandhu was very poor, But then anyhow, we became very rich by coming to Calcutta. So then Param Gurudev, he said, like, oh, we're building this, we need some land, this. So immediately he arranged for the purchase of this land. And Parmasar Gaudiya Matis. And then Param Gurudev said, oh, you've given us a plate, but what about the offerings from the plate? And he said, all right, I'll build the temple. And he built the temple there also in Parmasar. And then it is said that when the temple was built in Parmasar, one judge, he was glorifying Jagabandhu Prabhu, saying, oh, Jagabandhu, just see how simple-hearted he is. Jagabandhu Prabhu was actually illiterate. He did not know how to read and write also. But just see how such a great simple heart, he has built this entire temple. Then Jagabandhu Prabhu actually interrupted the judge. He told Prabhupada, can I please speak? Like one moment. Then the mic was passed to him. He said, the judge, what you said is very true. At this point, I cannot agree. He said that I have built the temple. He said. Rather, he said, I have nothing in this. Prabhupada mercifully engaged me in this seva. He said. Then he said, I have nothing to do with this. Whatever money I had was, now I'm realizing by his disciples that Prabhupada empowered me actually to help in this. And then it is said that for 1 month, after all the festivals were conducted there in Parmasar, it is said that there was a flame on top of the temple. There was one hurricane lamp. The hurricane lamp, it burst into pieces after 1 month. And then immediately when it burst into pieces, Prabhupada said, oh, go check on what Jagabandhu is doing. He's alright. When the disciples went and checked on him, they saw he left his body actually. Then Prabhupada said, oh, actually he was meant to leave his body 1 month before. But I kept him here for 1 month to look after this construction and to see all the festivals that are taking place here. Now he's gone back now. So we see this is how he was. Like we heard yesterday also, Aranya Maharaj, he would keep bricks as books and he would cover them, saying this Upanishad, that Upanishad, and he would preach. He would, everyone would be so much inspired by his katha. It is how his disciples are. You can imagine how Prabhupada was. Once, one Englishman who had come from England then, he heard Prabhupada's lecture. And then when he heard Prabhupada's lecture, he told Param Gurudev, this Englishman, he was like weeping in ecstasy. So when Param Gurudev, he went and he asked this Englishman, that saying, oh, you heard, why are you weeping like this in ecstasy? What is the reason? Then he said, oh, I came to India, I heard so many saints speak, he said. Been everywhere, all across India. That time India was like not just what we see now, it had so many other countries as well. He said, I've been everywhere. But what he has spoken has impressed me the most, he said. That's why I'm weeping in ecstasy, he said. And Param Gurudev, he said, oh really? And he said, what did you understand from what Prabhupada said? And the Englishman said, nothing, he said. He said, his language was so high class, so profound, every word carried such deep meanings that now I'm realizing that compared to my previous understanding, I know nothing, he said. Whatever I had previously gleaned, collected from my experience of spirituality, in comparison to him, I know nothing, he said. Like once Prabhupada, he was speaking at Banaras Hindu University, the same place, that same university founded by this Madan Mohan Malviya, who Prabhupada had recently met, who Madan Mohan Malviya has been he said, oh, how can you publish a newspaper every day? And Prabhupada said, what is most surprising to me is that a scholar like you can raise this question. He said, if in this mundane world a newspaper can be produced every day, then what to speak of the spiritual world? Every moment, newer and newer pastimes are taking place. He said, even if you were to publish a newspaper, every single moment still it would not suffice. So then, when Prabhupada was invited by Madan Mohan Malviya to speak in this Banaras Hindu University, there, when Prabhupada was speaking, the Vice Chancellor there, he said, I cannot understand anything, Swamiji, he said. Even the students there. They said, I cannot understand anything. So then, Prabhupada said, if you cannot understand anything, then how am I to blame, he said. Then you have to raise your level of understanding, he said. He said, I cannot come down to your level, but you have to at least come up to me. You have to at least elevate yourself a little, he said. So this is how he was, he always spoke the unpalatable truth. He did not ever give in to people's demands. Like some people, they told Prabhupada that your Gaudiya Math will grow so much if you only give one concession, they said. If you allow your disciples to drink tea, he said, will grow so much, he said. So many will become your disciples, he said. Prabhupada said, I don't care for many stars, I only care for one moon, he said. He said, even if I don't get many disciples, I only get like one sincere follower, this is more than enough for me, he said. And it is said that even his contemporaries, he corrected them so many times. Like we see this Charan Das Babaji also. He was the Babaji who got this Swapnadesh, this order in his dream, to sing this Nitai Gaur, Radhesham, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. So when he was singing this, actually Charan Das Babaji was a good friend of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He'd come to listen to Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Hari-katha and Jagannath Puri. But when Prabhupada, as we know, when he'd speak in such a strong way that immediately everyone would leave. Only 2 or 3 would be sitting there in the assembly. So then Prabhupada, he started cutting Charan Das Babaji's Mahamantra, saying that where Baladev Prabhu is, how can Radharani be there? He said, Baladev Prabhu is like Radharani's father. And now when you're saying Nitai Gaur, Radhesham, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Nitai is Baladev Prabhu. And then where Baladev Prabhu is, how can Radharani be there? And then you're saying Bhaja Nitai Gaur, Radhesham, Japa Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. So like he's saying, you're saying Bhaja Nitai Gaur, and then again you're saying Japa Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. So who is giving this instruction? Who are we supposed to meditate on? Nitai Gaur or Radhesham or Hare Krishna, Hare Ram? What is this? This way Prabhupada, he cut all his arguments, Charan Das Babaji's arguments. And then Charan Das Babaji actually, even when this Mayapur was established and festivals were taking place there, he actually accepted some of Prabhupada's chastisement. He actually used to come to see Prabhupada there. Even though he left like at the same time as Bhaktivinoda Thakur, still he accepted whatever he had to say. But still now we see that still chanting these mantras everywhere. So this way he's such an effulgent personality. The people he met, everyone. Like once he met one freedom fighter called Shyam Sundar Chakravarti. This Shyam Sundar Chakravarti, he told Prabhupada that you keep speaking about this independence that Krishna has given to the jivas. But if this independence had not been given to the jivas in the first place, then none of the jivas would have fallen, he said. None of the jivas would have fallen and become averse to Krishna's service. So why did Krishna give this independence? He asked. So Shyam Sundar Chakravarti was a freedom fighter. So then Prabhupada, he looked at Shyam Sundar Chakravarti and he said, you know the value of independence more than me, he said. Because you're a freedom fighter, you're fighting freedom at every moment, you know more than me, he said. So that time, he said, why do you want freedom? He asked Shyam Sundar Chakravarti. Why do you want freedom from the British? He said. Freedom does not necessarily mean only doing the good thing. It can also mean doing the thing which is not conducive for one's eternal welfare. And then Shyam Sundar Chakravarti, he told Prabhupada, why are you giving all these people saffron? Why are you doing all these things? He said. What is the guarantee that they'll stay saffron their entire lives? He said. So then Prabhupada said, if you compare one person's life to 1 rupee, then his entire 1 rupee is lost, he said, in sansar, in material life. But if you can save at least 1 anna, he said, that time the currency was 1 anna, 2 anna, 3 anna, 4 anna, not rupaya. And then he said, at least you can save like 4 annas of a person's life, or 5 annas, then how much invaluable service you're doing to him, he said. So similarly, he said, if any person were to stay in the temple, and he said, will not do anything, just ring the bell, he said. He said, will not do anything in the temple, just stay there, ring the bell. That's it, he said. Just by ringing the bell inside the temple, he said that the damage which has been done in innumerable lives, it can be undone, he said. It can be repaired, he said. Then what to speak of following all the 9 limbs of bhakti while staying in the temple, he said. So he told this freedom fighter that, and you are telling me that I should not give them this opportunity of liberating themselves from this material world by establishing the Gaudiya Math here, he said. By establishing all these temples here, you're saying that I should deprive them of this opportunity to secure their eternal welfare. So this way he spoke to so many such contemporaries, so many conversations are there, the harmonist and the Gaudiya. Even there's one conversation where he speaks to one district magistrate called Nafat Chowdhury. Where Nafat Chowdhury, he says, your father, he allowed for all these things. Where these people would sing the Ras Leela, they would engage in dramas, all these things, Mayapur. But why are you so against? He asked Prabhupada. If your father was like, if your father agreed to this one, why are you so against? He said. Then Prabhupada, he said, but the Thakur actually preached according to time, place, circumstance, he said. Somehow he wanted to bring everyone to the holy dham, he said. Therefore, he engaged everyone to perform this Leela Kirtan, all these things. But now, he said, now that people have gained more understanding, how can I allow this, he said. I cannot allow this any longer, because now people know about this Gaudiya Vaishnava like this. This way, he met so many different personalities, like we see in ISKCON, they have, like in Calcutta, they have this Bhaktivedanta Research Center. So there, they're collecting all these old Dainik Nadiyal Prakashas and these Gaudiyas, harmonists, and they're collecting all the letters of Prabhupada, everything, and they're preserving it as an archive for the future generations. So they're also doing such a good seva to Prabhupada's Vani. Therefore, it is said that when Nishikin Sanyal, he wrote one book about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even to this day, the book is published in Bagbazar. That book was on the life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Nishikin Sanyal gave that book to Prabhupada, Prabhupada was so happy. He said, just by giving this one book, he told him, he said, this one book can never be destroyed, he said. This will stay for eternity, he said. He said, even the demons can destroy temples. But how many books can they burn, he said. How many books can they burn? They cannot burn all the books in this world. So this way, Prabhupada, he appreciated him so much. This way he had such wonderful interactions with his devotees. Anantadev himself, with his unlimited mouths, cannot reach an end to his glories. So we can only hope and pray at Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet that we can listen from those who have this mamata. Just like how Param Gurudev had mamata for Prabhupada, you can listen from those who have mamata for that Guru Varga. No. If you notice, the Vaishnavas, they always say, my Guru Varga. No, they never say the Guru Varga. When we say, oh, Guru Varga. But they say, my Guru Varga. My Goswamis. My Param Gurudev. My Prabhupada. Why my? Because of that mamata, minus. Do we ever say like that? Oh, my Prabhupada. We only say, oh, Guru Varga. Oh, the Goswamis. They say, my Goswamis. My Guru Varga. Because of that mamata, they have so much at the Lord's feet. So we can only hope that we can also have a fragment of that mamata. This should be our prayer at the Lord's feet. Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Vipasana Vicharantam Bhakti.
ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुवरं श्रीरूपानुगप्रवरं व्रजरथरसिकं नारायणं तं प्रपन्नम्। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यः कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। First of all, I offer my Sastananda Arpanam, thousands times glorious to the Sri Paramaradatam Guru Parvarma. From Vishnu Pada Stotra Shishimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shri Gurudev. Secondly, I offer my Sastananda Arpanam, thousands times glorious to the Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga. I offer my Sastananda Arpanam to all the simple Vaishnavas and Vaishnavas. Yesterday we were celebrating the Divine Disappearance Day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Prabhupada. Also, I think the Disappearance Day of Srila Gauragovinda Goswami Maharaj. Same day. Oh, yeah, his Disappearance Day is on the Vyas Puja Day of Prabhupada, not so, yesterday, under the guidance of Guru Pada Padma, the Vaishnavas, as the Vaishnavas are saying that Gurudev himself then he arranged and sent so many Vaishnavas here so that we were able to participate and observe this Tithi in the company of the Vaishnavas. This is the first time that all Gaudiya Vaishnavas from all Gaudiya Mathas have come here, and you can see how the Vaishnavas then they prepared so many days and arranged everything that the Vaishnavas will be properly received and served. Therefore, this Prabhu ka hai Krishna seva, Vaishnav sevana, nirantara karo Krishna naam sankirtana. This Vaishnav seva is Mahaprabhu's instructions. But who can do Vaishnav seva? Someone who is a Vaishnav, he can recognize a Vaishnav, he can serve a Vaishnav. Someone who is a Kanishta Adhikari, someone who is a Prakrita Bhakta, he cannot serve the Vaishnavas. Archa meva hare pujam yashataya. Natat bhakteshu chanyeshu mat bhakta prakrita asanta. He doesn't recognize, he doesn't know the value of the Vaishnava. He thinks I am Vaishnava. He thinks Guru Padapad is Vaishnava, but no one else is Vaishnava. Therefore he cannot serve the Vaishnava. But someone who is Ishvara Adineshu Balisheshu Visatsusha Prema Maitri Kirpa Yakoro Isamadhyama. Only the Vaishnavas themselves, they can serve. Therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur had mentioned that, especially householders and anyone, they should not make a show of inviting Vaishnavas to their house. Should not make a show of inviting them to their place. Rather, what will happen? You invite so many Vaishnavas and they have so many requirements, but you become overwhelmed with the arrangements and with the preparations. And then so many mistakes, so many offenses you make. How to serve the Vaishnavas, how to keep the prasad, how to welcome them, how to invite them, how to see them out, speak sweet words to them, give them chance to speak Hari-katha, Thakurji's Mahaprasad, all everything, so many considerations. But you think I will do myself independently? Then you end up displeasing so many Vaishnavas. Someone needs to sit in a chair, someone, he cannot take certain Mahaprasad, someone has to need a room, need to rest. So many things may be there, and you overlook all these things, then you end up making so many offenses. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, don't make a show. If any Vaishnava will come to your temple, then it's your duty to serve them and welcome them. And in this way, you perform Vaishnava Seva. In this way, all the Vaishnavas they approached, they came here and they requested, we want to celebrate this Prabhupada's Nirmal Bhakti here in your temple. Then the Vaishnavas mercifully agreed, and understanding this is a direct inspiration and mercy of Guru Padma, then they took this chance to perform Vaishnava Seva on their heads. And therefore, Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada also, he is always in this mood, also serving the Vaishnavas. Anyone would offer pranam to him, he would say, Dasosmi, I am your servant. He never considered himself that I am Guru, I am Acharya, I am this position or that position. They tried to give him so many positions. Even the astrological department in the university in Calcutta said, we'll make you the chairman of the department here. He said, I have not come to this world to count stars. This is not the purpose of my life. Therefore he rejected. And Prabhupada explained, he always thought, I am the servant of my Guru Padma, Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Gaurikishore Das Babaji Maharaj. And anyone who would come, any of his disciples, you'll see, these Gaurikishore Das Babaji Maharaj has sent them to me. To help me, assist me in my service of my Prabhu. Help me in my service of the Lord. And this way, he's always performing this Vaishnava Seva and teaching this to everyone. Therefore, Phalena Parichayate. You can understand the tree by the fruit. Therefore, we look in the history of our Guru Parampara, then to find one Acharya who has so many qualified, exalted Mahabhagavat disciples, this is a very rare thing indeed. Prabhupada very mercifully he accepted, gave shelter to so many, and therefore we can see his Antaraj, his Parikar, they are all so exalted. Therefore in his song they sing that Parahamsa Param Paramartha Patim Srito Sarane Pita Vesati Yati Raja Ganai Parisevya Param Paramami Sada Prabhupada. He's surrounded by so many, he is like a Paramahamsa Ramani, Shiromani, Prabhupada. And he's surrounded by so many sannyasis, so many followers. They're all serving his lotus feet, they're all worshipping him. And each one of his servants, they are themselves like an extension of Prabhupada. You can see Srila Param Gurudev, and we can see Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, and then we can see Srila Bhakti Dayak Maharaj Gosai Maharaj, Bhakti Rakshas Chidda Gosai Maharaj, Bhakti Pramod Puri Gosai Maharaj, and unlimited, we cannot even mention all their names. Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Gosai Maharaj, so many, Bhakti Hridaya Ban Maharaj, unlimited, so many qualified Mahabhagavad disciples. And whenever the entities come, we always observe them and we hear about their lives and we glorify them. Because they are direct embodiment and extensions of Prabhupada. And they are teaching and observing. Therefore you can see all the Gaudiyamans, they have combined together to come and celebrate this Kirupavati. To show that we are what? This is the Vinod Saraswati Dhara. We are in the line of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. It was not for Saraswati, Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Saraswati Prabhupada, then none of us would be here. Therefore, we are all in his family. And therefore, that is how we can identify. We are united on that way. And this is really the mood about this Gaur Parivar. You should consider anyone who is chanting the name of Gauranga, putting Tila Kanti Mala. Then Rupa Goswami, he says that Krishneti Yasi Gritang Manesasriyata. You should respect him in your mind. You should accept him as your own family member. You can see this is the Vaishnava, they never consider any separation from, or they are from this temple, they are from that temple. They are all Vaishnava in the line, in this Prabhupada, in this family of the Prabhupada. Here united, here is the one who, for the first time, brought everyone under one banner, institutionalized, made it recognized. Before Prabhupada, then everyone was thinking, oh, what is Gaudiya Vaishnavism? When any funeral is there, then you're hiring some Babajis, some Vaishnavas. They're coming, ping, ping, tong, tong, singing playing Vidanga, and then they're taking payment and going. And then so many Babajis, then they're doing so many unlawful activities that are against all Vaishnava principles. All these things are going on, just like we heard. So many concoctions, so many their own Mahamantra, this mantra, that mantra, so many sampradayas, all Bhav, Karta, Bhaja, Nera, Jati, Gosai, Sahajaya, Saki, Beki, Smarta, Saki, Beki, Goranga, Nagari, Chudadari, so many. Don't associate with any of these. They all are sampradaya. All in the name of Mahaprabhu doing all nonsense things. So much darkness, so much confusion. So many doubts. What is happening? Then Prabhupada, then taking the teachings of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the instruction, then he sat there in the center of the universe. That is Yogapit. Navadip Dham. That is the very center. That is why the Vaishnavas say the calendar, Mayapur calendar will start from there. This is the beginning, this is the point. When the Chitti starts in Mayapur, then it moves forward. Then it will come. Then we can calculate anyone else's time. As long as Mayapur has not started, then there is no start. So Prabhupada, he started there. In his Shatakoti Naam Bhajan there. 1 billion names. And then he practiced everything in his life. Meditated on the teachings of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Not only that, but he studied very carefully all of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's work. And then he wrote his own commentary. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he wrote commentary on Mana Siksha. Then Prabhupada also wrote. He wrote commentary on Siksha and he also wrote. Then he wrote commentary on Upadeshamrita and he also wrote. And therefore he is going deep into the moods of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Then, after fully understanding and realizing, then he is beginning to preach and spread his established things. Bhaktivinoda Thakur told Prabhupada, I want you to establish Daivivarnashram Dharma. And I want you to spread the glories of Navadip Dham. And I want you to perform Navadip Dham Parikrama. He gave instantly these instructions. Therefore, since the time of Prabhupada, The Navadip Dham Parikrama has never stopped. Every year it is going on without any difficulty, and it is only increasing. Notably, our Srila Guru Param Gurudev, then Srila Bhaktivinoda Bhama Goswami Maharaj, Vikram Goswami Maharaj, when they are to perform Parikrama, their Parikrama party was bigger than all other Gaudiya Math of ISKCON everyone combined. So much prachar to do in every single village. 15,000, 20,000 people, like an ocean. And the other acharyas from other masters come to Bhama Goswami Maharaj and Gurudev. How are you managing all of these things? And Gurudev will lift his hand in there and say, oh, Gaurnitai. I just chant Ha Gaur, Hanitai, and then I depend on them and they manifest everything. Therefore, and then every year, they'll go where? Samadhi of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Samadhi of Srila Prabhupada. And then discuss, speak the glories of Srila Prabhupada. Go to Atharaj, Rajpattam. Go to all these places, Samadhi of Babaji Maharaj. This way, you can see how all Gaudiya Vaishnavas are deeply connected to Srila Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. And specific for us, we are in the Saraswat Vinod Dhara, coming from Prabhupada to Param Gurudev. And from Param Gurudev coming now to after the Guru Padma. And that, just as we heard, that Param Gurudev, he will continue to maintain this tradition. Therefore, Param Gurudev written so many articles on Prabhupada, on his glory. He really do Prabandhavali. There are so many articles he just glorifying from Prabhupada. Such way that no one has glorified Prabhupada in such a way. Therefore, we can understand that Param Gurudev, he was the Anyadam, the foremost disciple of Srila Prabhupada, Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. And who confirmed this? Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj himself. Said, when I think about Vinod Bihari and Narahari Sarvabhigraha, especially, and he said, when I think about Vinod Bihari as a disciple of Prabhupada, he was not just any disciple of Prabhupada, but he was the best of, he was the foremost of them all. Therefore, this line is continuing from Prabhupada to Param Gurudev, and it is now going on. And for years and years, Gurudev, the Vaishnavas, they are manifesting these festivals, and we are observing them, discussing and speaking about all the special glories of Srila Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Prabhupada, he has written so many commentaries. His commentary on, especially on Chaitanya Bhagavad, especially famous, Gaudiya Vaishnava. In that commentary, he has included everything. Anything you could possibly think of, everything is included there. All secret, deep realizations, and so many beautiful things there. And from based on that commentary, then Swami Maharaj and others, they've all made their commentaries on Chaitanya Charitamrita and other books. Prabhupada is unlimited articles. He took all the teaching from the four Sampradayas, Madhva, Ramanuja, Vishwasena, and Nimbadicha. Took the essence of all that and published it. In his Gaudiya, he had a weekly Gaudiya magazine in Bengali, fortnightly in Hindi, the Bhagavad. Later, Gurudev, Param Gurudev established the Bhagavad Patrika and the Gaudiya Patrika. Then in Assam he had the Kirtan, in Oriya the Paramarthi. Then he had Jain magazine and Dainik Nadiya Prakar. So all the unlimited. Prabhupada collected everything and he published and he established all these, created a storehouse of knowledge and basis for all Gaudiya Vaishnavas. To help us identify, to help us understand what is our lineage, what is our, who we are. We have the Brahma Mata Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. And all of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's teachings, all of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's books he published, Jaiva Dharma, Chaitanya Shikshamrita, all of them. Like the specialities, the contributions that Prabhupada he did, we cannot calculate it, incalculable, unlimited. And all of us Gaudiya Vaishnavas today, we are reaping the fruits of their endeavor, within their. There's so many things that he has, so many specialities, so many things he has done. Even in the end, Prabhupada said, I wanted to stay 10 years longer, but now I am leaving. But Prabhupada's desire, Sri Bhananandi Srimati Radharani calling. Therefore, he is doing Nayana Manjari or Nayana Mani Manjari. The intimate Maid servant of Srimati Hari-katha. In such a short time you accomplish so much. And you can see his disciples also like that. Swami Maharaj also, Prabhupada. How for a short time in the West, 10, 12 years, but so much he accomplished. Param Gurudev. So this is our family, this is our line, and unlimited teachings, unlimited kathas about Prabhupada. This kind of katha doesn't go on for days and days and weeks and months. It's never ends. And so we are, you can read also from Gurudev in his, also here the Pramandavali. In English, there are all the different disciplines, there are the Acharyas. There he also speaks so many kathas about the glories of Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Describes the different pranam mantras. So many wonderful things Gurudev has described. For Gurudev, Prabhupada is his Param Gurudev. And therefore Gurudev he knew unlimited glories of Prabhupada. So many. Just like we know so many glories about Param Gurudev, because we have heard from Gurudev. So Gurudev in the same way, his knowledge and his understanding of Prabhupada is unsurpassed. All Prabhupada came into a dream. He wanted his own disciple and ordered him to give all his books to Srila Gurudev. And he came to Keshiji Gaudiya, donated all of Prabhupada's on near, all the secret books, and all the collection, everything. And Gurudev had to use his life with it. Prabhupada directly himself blessed Srila Gurudev. And Prabhupada, he wrote that in the future, it will be of a great service if any Gaudiya Vaishnava will come and write a commentary on Ras Panchadhyaya. Explain the glories of the Bhagavatam, explain the glories of these last things. And I myself didn't have time. I was spending so much time cutting jungles, preparing groundwork, collecting here and there all these teachings of all the Sampradayas, all our Gaudiya, none of it was published, nothing. We had no foundation, no basis. I spent myself building these bases, this foundation. But the most essential thing that we have come to give is Anarapita Chirinchirat Prem, that Mahaprabhu came to give. I did not have time to push that and emphasize and focus on that. So in the future, if any Gaudiya Vaishnava will come and do this, this will be an invaluable service to Sampradaya. And since the time of Prabhupada, no one had published this Ras Panchadhyaya written a commentary, including all the commentaries of Acharyas. Gurudev was the first. Therefore, Gurudev directly is fulfilling not only the Manovishta of Param Gurudev, but is also fulfilling the Manovishta of Srila Prabhupada and Mahaprabhu. And therefore, Prabhupada he blessed and empowered. And all the disciples of Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, the local train station and bus station was next to Keshavji Gaudiya. So then they would all, whenever they would come, they would go stay in Keshavji Gaudiya. And Gurudev said, I would serve them and I would hear from them. Therefore, all these conceptions that I am preaching about Hari-katha, Anarpita Charinchirat Prem, Raganuga Bhakti, all these things I have learned from them. And they have learned from who? From Prabhupada. Therefore, this is my wealth. I don't know anything. So anything I speak, I'm only taking their words. Guru Mukha Padma Bhakya Vidyate Koriyakya. Arna Koriya Manas. I am spreading the words of my Guru Varga. This is Prabhupada's Vichardhara. This was Prabhupada's desire to establish this. What Mahaprabhu came to give is Hari-katha, this Braj Prem, Braj Bhakti. Therefore, he said in his own song that Brajavasi Jan, Pracharaka Jan, said, Pranache Sar, Pranache Jar, Sehetu Prachar. The Brajvasi, they are the real Pracharakas. They are the real preachers. And anyone who wants to preach, this is the Brajvasi should preach. So therefore, we have only one duty is to preach the love of the Braj Devis, the Braj Gopis, Braj Bhakti everywhere. Then you are a Pracharak. If you are speaking about this thing, that thing, but you don't mention this Braj Prem, this Braj Gopis Prem, servitorship to Srimati Radhika, then what have you preached? Then you are not connected to Mahaprabhu, you are not in his line. This is what Mahaprabhu has come to give. This is what Mahaprabhu's desire. Raga Marga Bhakti Loke Korite Prachara. What is Raga Marga Bhakti? Gurudev and Prabhupada have described all these things. So Gurudev he established the Manovishta of Prabhupada in this world. And he's continuing to do so. Now all Gaudiya Vaishnavas and they came here to this Sri Radhe Kunj, where Gurudev, Vichardhara, everything is firmly being practiced and taught by the Vaishnavas. Therefore, we are so fortunate that we get to be here and hear all these things from the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas. And therefore, they help us, remind us, what is the real Vichardala of Prabhupada, what is the real Vichardala of Guru Bhakta. And that we can aspire for that, and then we can also practice that in our life. So praying the lotus feet of Sri Guru Pada Padma, Param Gurudev, Prabhupada, and our Guru Bhakta, that they please bless us, that the teachings may remain in our heart, that we may also practice them sincerely in our life. Manta, Guru Guru Guru